Welcome to Fascinating, a Star Trek podcast. Episode 15, Shore Leave.
In this week's episode, the crew of the Enterprise are looking forward to some well-earned rest and relaxation when events take a bizarre turn. Sightings of literary characters, old friends, older foes and wild animals put Kirk and his survey teams on edge. But can they solve the mystery before the casualties start to pile up?
Something wrong?
A kink in my back. That's it. A little higher. Push hard. Take it in there, Mr. Thank you, Yeoman. That's sufficient.
Welcome back, Gerry.
Second time.
Yes, we're getting back into the old routines.
Getting there.
We're tested twice a week for COVID, so everything's fine.
100%. Doc says you are the fittest podcaster he's ever seen.
And you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are things?
Not too bad. Still healthy.
Good. Got a kinky back?
Always requires treatment with some kinky boots.
Before I forget, you mentioned after last week's recording that you missed a trick. Can you remember what it was?
No.
You brought up Miss Congeniality.
I did, and I forgot to mention that William Shatner was obviously in both of the Miss Congeniality movies.
How can you miss such a thing?
Well, it's not that I missed it, or I just didn't... It wasn't why I thought of it, but yeah.
Okay.
An obvious link.
People would have been shouting at their speakers, what about the Shat?
They probably just assumed that's why I mentioned it. You've taken away all the credit I got for being subtle about it.
Yeah, you didn't want to overplay it.
Exactly.
Nuanced you were.
Yes, it's balanced against his performance.
This week is a...
unusual one?
Yep, I knew within, I suppose, minutes, maybe even seconds, that I would enjoy it. But I must admit, I had the feeling, or I do have the feeling, you can perhaps correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the purists will see this episode as favourably as I do. I
don't think it's a classic episode, but I think everyone enjoys the episode for what it is. Or not everyone, obviously, but the majority. It doesn't score too badly on IMDb, I don't think. It's fine. It's in with the rest of the group.
Is it? It's certainly fun, but there are definite issues.
It's a departure, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And liberties, I think, were maybe taken at some stage. Also, I should point out that if I learned everything I knew about Irish people from Star Trek, I wouldn't like them very much.
Oh, we had Riley, and this week we've got Finnegan. He is one of the most punchable, and thankfully, he does get punched in the episode.
Yeah, he's like an overgrown leprechaun.
Yeah, it's a terrible depiction, and I don't know what their problem is. Have they only ever met Irish people that did Gene Roddenberry and the rest of the producers and writers only ever... I don't know.
Well, I think it's the stereotype, isn't it?
They once saw Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Have you seen that? It's a good
I've not seen that, no.
It's, I believe that stars a young Sean Connery.
All right.
With, Little People. Hence the name.
Of course.
Good movie. You should watch. I think it's Disney.
Is it black and white?
No, colour.
Oh, I might like it then.
From the late 50s, maybe.
Okay.
The tone for this episode was set pretty much from the off.
It was. Should we get into a discussion?
We should. Let's crack on. I'm going to say that twice. Let's crack on because I forgot last week.
Okay, just keep saying it. You can build up a cachet.
A bank in case of COVID kicks back in. Okay, crack on. Crack on.
That'll do.
Okay.
We begin on the bridge of the Enterprise, as you might expect.
Where Spock is telling Kirk that a report from a landing party is due imminently.
It is, and we heard at the top of the podcast the...
Kinky back.
Kirk, thinking Spock is massaging him, asks for a bit of extra pressure.
So a couple of points here. Firstly, we're introduced to a new yeoman.
Yeoman Barrows.
Yes, Tonya, I think her name is.
Yeah, well, we won't see her again after this week.
Spoiler.
Okay.
Come on, I thought this was going to... Never mind.
Yeah.
So... We've had this discussion before. I'm sure lots of people have, especially those who have watched Pulp Fiction. It's a sort of reversal from that. Kirk thinks that Spock is giving him this deep back massage, but when it turns out to be the female Barrow, he is a bit uncomfortable about it.
I think he's embarrassed about it because he didn't realise
that he was enjoying it.
No, that she thought he was asking her to do it.
Right.
Because he doesn't name Spock until after when he sees him. So he maybe assumes that she felt she had to do it because he was telling her to.
Yeah, so you've not seen Pulp Fiction, which is crazy.
Keep meaning to watch it. I've got it somewhere.
But at the start, there's a whole scene, whole discussion about how appropriate it is for one man to give a foot massage to another man's wife.
Okay.
Now, on the surface of it, it's a massage. It's non-sexual, apparently, but there is a line, and we have chatted about this before, and
we've discussed it.
Like when I go for a haircut, okay,
this is telling, isn't it?
Well, what is?
What you're about to say?
I don't know if it's telling or not. I'm sure lots of people feel the same way.
Okay.
So they offer a head massage, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'll take a head massage, and you lie back and you go, oh yeah, that's nice. Now, if that was a guy who and it's normally one of the sort of like the younger girls from the juniors, but if that was a guy who'd said it to me, now it's only a head massage. There is nothing overtly sexual about it, but I must admit, and it's not homophobia before you accuse me of it, but I wouldn't feel as comfortable in saying yeah, sure, and let a guy sort of massage my head and let myself relax and go, oh yeah, that's lovely. And I know that like logically you shouldn't. It's just a head massage, but in the same way, if I went for a massage now, if I went for a sometimes I do go for a relaxing massage, but it's not a sports or an injury massage. It's just for pleasure, and it's a woman doing it, no problem at all. Sit back, shut my eyes, get the oils on the old back, no problem. I wouldn't feel as relaxed if there was a strange man doing it. I've not been in the situation. I know when I go to get my haircut, it's quite a sensual experience. It's sensual. Well, that's the thing, and yeah. What I like is the open razor shave, like when they're tidying your beard up. Yeah. It's always men that do that, and that doesn't bother me. Sure, but they're not massaging you. They're not physically getting stuck right in there. I mean, I've never been in the situation, but I imagine if it felt nice, I wouldn't really care who was doing it. Yeah. But maybe I would. Who knows? Yeah. Anyway. Your eyes are closed anyway. Just imagine it's somebody else. Wish I think of England. Yeah, we'll probably move on. We should. Talking of lying down and closing your eyes, Yeoman Barrows recommends Kirk gets some more sleep, apparently. That's obvious to everybody. He's overtired. Yes, I think all of the crew are a bit stressed out for a long 3 months, or certainly an intense 3 months, and they all need a bit of R&R. Yeah, we can imagine over the past episodes of these events have just taken place that this makes sense. Although I think Spock, he doesn't think he needs rest. He doesn't understand the concept of it. Oh, for himself, yeah. Yeah. But he agrees with McCoy's assessment that Kirk needs to rest. He does indeed. Kirk then leaves for his quarters and gives Uhura instructions to have McCoy's report sent to him when it is available. We're down this shore leave planet now, this potential shore leave planet, yeah. And this is one of the things that there's a lot of gaps, a lot of sort of backstory with different characters and interactions, and things that would appear to be easy to resolve, but it feels a little bit lazy. So they don't name this planet. Why not? I think later on they name the system that it's in on one of the captain's logs. They do, yeah. But so normally for Star Trek, what you find is it's just the name of the system and then a number, like which planet in order is it from the star. Okay. We don't find out specifically which this planet is. We don't. Anyway, to a light-hearted score, we see McCoy and Sulu stroll merrily about this Earth-like place as they breathe in fresh air and admire the greenery of nature. Yeah, they observe it's pretty much exactly what they were looking for. Yeah, apparently it's uninhabited, and McCoy thinks it's an ideal venue for the Enterprise crew to cast aside their worries and recuperate. Yeah, he says it's like something out of Alice in Wonderland. He does indeed. Kirk apparently should authorise it based on this report of his that he's going to send up, and that if there are scouting parties, and this is the point where he mentions Alice in Wonderland. Now, why does he... See, this is the thing. Why did he... It's just a place with some trees. There's nothing other than that at this point to make it look like something from Alice in Wonderland. I've not read Alice in Wonderland recently, but I suppose it's just trees. Something idyllic, I guess, the fact that he's got nothing to complain about. So Wonderland makes sense as a concept. Sure. Sulu states that Kirk will love it, and McCoy alludes to what Kirk has admitted to before, in that he has to worry about not just himself, but the entire crew. He's got that burden, hasn't he? That's it. Sulu sets off on his own to get some readings, and things take a strange twist. Instantly, yes. Because McCoy encounters a human-sized and late-running what? White rabbit. Yeah, dressed in a waistcoat.
He's late.
He is. Closely followed by who or whom?
That looks like Dorothy.
Yeah,
Or possibly Alice.
could be.
She's very English
She is, yeah.
and never acted again. I'm not
I
going
thought
to
she
cover
had
her
a
later on
sterling career. Yeah, done nothing.
based on this performance.
And because of that, I had a quick look myself and I thought, well, maybe she's one of the cast or crew's daughter and they're just stuck around for this scene. But nothing, no. She was just terrible at this, obviously.
Or maybe she just didn't like it.
Yeah.
Maybe they were all mean to her. Anyhow, McCoy points the rabbit in the right direction and points Alice in the right direction, sorry, and looks a bit bemused as she runs off.
So he shouts on Sulu, but he did not see what he saw. That's because he's McCoy to stare and probably wonder if he's going mad.
I loved the way that he was looking so intently as if he was trying to test if what he'd seen was really there. It's like, he's just staring at that spot where he saw the rabbit and the girl.
Mm-hmm. We didn't have the credits. I thought this was quite a long pre-credit sequence.
Yeah, a couple of
scenes.
decent length scenes.
Yeah. Then we have a captain's log, 3025.3.
Something along those lines.
Nice touch, I thought. Because you heard... Did you not pick up on that, no?
What was that? Oh yes, he was trying to figure out
Yeah,
and
it's indicating that he's a bit tired and not quite as sharp as he should be.
That's it. We see him actually, as we hear his log, we see in the background him talking to Yeoman Barrows about something else.
We do. Tell me more about this log, but what's they're orbiting you mentioned an uninhabited planet in the what?
I've not written this down.
Omicron Delta region?
Okay.
Is this a thing? Have you heard of Omicron Delta?
No. I'm sure Omicron's a Transformers term, but that would come after this.
It's Earth-like and almost too good to be true.
Well, there's your first warning.
If something seems to be too good to be true, it's probably
75% of the time it always is.
Yeah, but that other 25% of the time, it's worth taking the punt because, yeah,
it could be great. Anyhow, he confirms to the yeoman that he's not going to be taking leave.
Yeah, where is he? Did you mention where
He's
we
in
are?
his quarters.
He is, yes.
And Spock shows up. People seem to just come into Kirk's quarters. I suppose he's maybe got a sign on the door, like open for business or do not disturb. Romancing. Spock doesn't really want to go down to the planet either.
No, he doesn't understand how expending energy running up and down hills can be considered recuperative.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? If you're going to
Got
rest,
a point, yeah.
just rest.
It's very logical, yeah.
I think the type of rest that the others would take is more psychological than
Yes,
physical.
it's a mental lie down they're having, not
Yes.
necessarily, yeah. Kirk smells at this logic before McCoy communicates through with his interesting update.
Captain, are you beaming down?
I hadn't planned to, Bones. Why?
Well, either our scouting probes and detectors are malfunctioning, and all us scouts careless and beauty intoxicated, or I must report myself unfit for duty.
Explain.
On this supposedly uninhabited planet, I just saw a large rabbit pull a gold watch from his vest and claim that he was late.
That's pretty good, Bones. All right, I got one for you. The rabbit was followed by a little blonde girl, right?
As a matter of fact, yes. And they disappeared through a hole in a hedge.
All right, Doctor. I'll take your report under consideration. Captain out. That's a McCoy pill. A little mystery sugar coating. He wants to get me down there. Afraid I won't swallow it.
Very well, Captain. Something I did come to discuss.
Yes, Mr. Spock, please.
I picked this up from Dr. McCoy's log. We have a crew member aboard who's showing signs of stress and fatigue. Reaction time down 9 to 12%. Associational rating norm -3.
That's much too low a rating.
He's becoming irritable and quarrelsome, yet he refuses to take rest and rehabilitation. Now, he has that right, but we found...
Crewman's right ends where the safety of the ship begins. Now, that man will go ashore on my orders. What's his name?
James Kirk. Enjoy yourself, Captain.
Quite playful there from Spock.
Very. I liked it.
Yeah. It was interesting that they left the reports coming through on the speaker in the background. I couldn't really make out what they were saying, but I assume that was just the other scouting parties saying, everything's fine here.
I assume so. Back down on this planet, there's a short Spock voiceover, I think, as he extols the virtues and peaceful nature of the place, but as it finishes, we see a rock open up to reveal
Gun.
an old gun, an old-fashioned gun from our times. Her father's time.
Spooky.
And we join who?
I think it's, I can't remember her name.
Angela.
Angela, because I've written Anthea, and it's not that. Nope. So Angela, whose fiance's just died.
Yeah, she has a new boyfriend.
Yes,
Didn't take her long, did it, to forget about Tomlinson, dead meat Tomlinson?
True. They bicker playfully as they complete their work.
Yeah, I think his name's Rodriguez.
Yes. You think he's doomed too?
Well, they're not going to get married, but I can't see it being a long term. I mean, she's like a sort of Black Widow or just a jinx, isn't she?
Something along those lines.
Yeah. She wants him to stop working, but he needs to get a report ready for Kirk, who just happens to beam down at that point along with a Barrow. Now, when I first saw them coming down, I assumed they were fakes.
Why? Because he just mentioned Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe this was some. Yeah,
I thought that later on at one of the transport scenes.
Spock, I think, yeah.
Anyhow, Rodriguez has his report ready, so he was just obviously messing with Angela. And he gives it to Kirk, who tells him to beam it up to Spock. I'm not sure whether he's got physical readings that have to be sent up. And start to relax.
Yes, before he is pointed in the direction of McCoy and Sulu.
Kirk and Barrow head off to find McCoy.
Yeah, and he notes while they're walking how peaceful and beautiful the place is. And Barrow readily agrees. I think she's very enthusiastic before reining herself in by saying, affirmative, Captain. So there seems to be some sort of attraction between the pair here. Or they're relaxed anyway. Because you can see her correcting herself, so she knows that maybe, or she feels that she's overstepped the...
yeah, she's almost lost sight of the fact she's working.
We're down in this glade where they meet up with McCoy, who points to the giant paw prints.
Yes, he's confirming that he wasn't making this rabbit story up. They actually saw this rabbit, which I think is quite a surprise for Kirk.
It's almost like the famous ending of a section within The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Okay, with the giant paw prints.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for McCoy, he has no backup to his story. Sulu didn't see anything.
Yeah, he considers that he may, in fact, have hallucinated. That is quite, I don't know, if I had to see something like that, how, in what circumstance would you doubt yourself?
Well, if you're trying to rationalise, you know you're tired, but I don't think you would assume you'd hallucinated, would you?
No. So Kirk communicates with Uhura, postponing all leave until he can work out what is going on. So that's a good decision, I think.
Yeah, McCoy doesn't like the decision because he thinks he's going to be blamed, I think, for stopping everybody. Surely, if he says to Kirk, "You sure it seems harmless?" But Kirk wants to make certain that it's harmless, which I think is
the
wise.
Correct thing, yes.
Yeah.
They then hear a gunshot and they run towards it. And this is the first time in this episode. I think it happens 2 or 3 times. I really liked it. It's a sort of tracking, I'm not sure what it's called, a tracking or a dolly shot where it sort of follows Kirk as he runs.
Yep.
And I think this is a forerunner to his iconic scenes in T.J. Hooker.
He's running all the time.
He's always running, chasing bad guys. And I think probably that's because that he's in his maybe early 50s at that point, and he's still proving, or he's still trying to prove that he can keep up with these young whippersnappers, or prove to himself maybe.
Perhaps.
Anyway.
We find Sulu firing this gun. I didn't understand.
He's happily firing it.
Why is he firing the gun? Report the gun. You're working. It's not the naked time. He's not drunk or ill.
Yeah.
Why would you find a gun and start shooting?
Yeah, in fairness to Sulu here, that'd be like us maybe finding some very old artefact. It's not a weapon of today. So you're not necessarily thinking, these must be dangerous creatures who have got... You're not finding a phaser or some piece of contemporary weaponry.
Sure, but it's something unusual. Would you start playing with it?
Maybe not, yeah.
Anyway, I think there's a few times in this episode where they act like they're intoxicated or like they did in Naked Time without there being any real explanation for it.
He explains that he has always wanted one of these guns and coincidentally found it lying around, but he confiscates it from the trigger-happy navigator.
He does. He chastises him as well for it.
Yeah, but he sticks his gun right down his pants.
As you would. Safety first.
An old weapon that could go off at any time. You've not checked. I mean...
Well, he doesn't understand it.
Exactly. So we know it's a weapon.
Yes.
I'll stick this down beside my genitals, yeah. Don't understand how dangerous it can be.
It's the worst that could happen.
Exactly. And I think at this point, Barrow spots more rabbit prints.
Yeah, so Kirk double checks with McCoy that there was no sign of animal life on their scans.
And so a now more concerned Kirk sends Barrow and Sulu off to follow the rabbit as he and McCoy go back to investigate the glade. That's a bit... I'm not sure sending those two off after the rabbit would be the...
No, it's an odd one. And at this point we also see a very old looking aerial pop up out of the ground.
Yeah, it's a point of view shot, isn't it? Of this aerial, which apparently is scanning or watching them. And as they walk, Kirk chats about his time at the academy.
Yeah, you've got McCoy saying that he feels like he's maybe being picked on or like blamed for all this because he was the first one to see something unusual. And it reminds Kirk of a guy who was a bit of a dick to him at the academy.
Yeah, an upperclassman named Finnegan, we mentioned him earlier, who would constantly taunt him with practical jokes.
Yeah, but Kirk, at McCoy's instigation, admits that he was grimly serious at the time.
Absolutely grim, I think he says. And this only encouraged Finnegan. So, in fairness to Finnegan, I can imagine Kirk being quite dry and...
It might be quite satisfying to get a rise out of him.
Yeah. They then see more prints, including those of the young girl, which pleases McCoy, as he now knows that he wasn't going mad.
Not yet.
And so Kirk tells McCoy to follow the rabbit whilst he backtracks the girl. Not the best terminology. You follow that rabbit, I'm going to backtrack a young girl.
Well,
Don't know what it means, but you shouldn't be doing that.
no, probably not. And as soon as they do split, Finnegan, who was just mentioned by Kirk, appears from nowhere to taunt him.
Yeah, and I mentioned, I noted myself, the most annoying Irishman since Riley.
Yeah, I've got an even more explicit term for him.
We'll leave it out. This is a reasonably clean
family
podcast.
show, yeah.
You're allowed one. It's like this podcast, was it a PG-12 or something? You're allowed one naughty word per episode, and we've already had it. You called someone. Yeah.
Hit our quota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a scream, though, that interrupts Kirk's dalliance with Finnegan.
Yes, it rings out, and so Kirk flees in the direction of Barrow and is met by McCoy on the way.
Yes.
We're at a tree. This is the thing, it was quite hard taking notes this week because generally it's different scenes, but it's all just like this bit of grass, this bit of grass, and then this tree.
Wooded path.
Yeah, I've tried to split it up. We're at a tree now.
Barrow's there, her uniform's been torn almost completely off her shoulder.
Yeah, she's distressed and dishevelled beside this tree with... Now, did you notice that had red paint on it? I'm not sure what that was.
Is that blood?
No, it was obviously paint.
I don't know.
Who knows? And she explains that she was assaulted by a cloaked man with a bejeweled dagger. I don't know if that's a euphemism.
Well, probably. But in any event, he's described as being like Don Juan, and Sulu's gone off to chase him.
Yeah, but Kirk then asks a ridiculous question. I think it's not quite as severe as how women are treated in real life and have been in the past when they've been assaulted, but rather than believing her... Now, bearing in mind that we know about McCoy's rabbit and we've seen the paw print, so we know something's going on.
We've seen the gun.
But he asks if she's imagining it. What do you mean? She's got a ripped dress.
Did she just rip it for attention?
Yeah, so this is
what women are like.
Yeah, I wasn't comfortable with that sort of question.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Were you asking for it? You were in that shirt, that skirt is quite short.
Yeah, that's exactly the sort of tone, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not just that, but you've seen his mate Finnegan as well.
Yeah, he's right, exactly. So
everyone's seeing things and you ask if she imagined it, unacceptable.
It's almost like he wants that to be the case. He wants this all to just be, everyone's imagining stuff, let's just draw a line under it, but that's not the case. And when he hears that Sulu's gone after Don Juan, Kirk also sets off in pursuit.
Yes. I get the feeling that Sulu would be quite happy to chase after a Don Juan. Anyway, McCoy is instructed to stay with Barrow as Kirk runs off for some answers.
Yeah. As he goes, he sees this orange flower which seems to catch his attention.
Yeah, well, just before we get there, he is again tracked by this aerial.
Oh, this aerial thing is popping up. Then he sees this flower.
Yeah, red and yellow flowers nearby, and for some reason he stops to pick one up, and he smiles with joy as if they have some deeper meaning to him.
Yeah, it's almost sentimental, isn't it?
That's what I'm looking for, yeah. But he discovers something even more interesting straight away.
Yes, Ruth.
Yeah, this Ruth woman appears in a half and half dress, including her shoes. Did you notice that?
I didn't spot that.
It's a Harlequin get up. And he can hardly believe it, but she confirms to her darling that it is her and goes over to kiss him. Now, we can maybe chat about this just now. There's no backstory to this. This is one of the things I mentioned earlier. They didn't bother naming the planet. And this character is obviously important to Kirk.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have taken much to
No,
mention the
lines.
fact that it was a romance they had at the academy, or when he was at the academy, but he had to leave for work purposes, and they never saw each other again, or whatever.
Anything
Anything at all. Simple one-line backstory would have been fine, but nothing.
No.
Anyway, we go straight from that to Captain's Log 3025.8, where Kirk states that they're seeing things that can't exist, but that they are undeniably real.
Well, that's an interesting word to choose.
What, undeniably?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over at some rocks,
Yeah.
Kirk unsuccessfully tries to... Oh, he's still with Ruth, of course, and he unsuccessfully tries to signal McCoy.
But he stops trying and prefers to be with her. He is clearly in love with her. Now, this is another issue I've got, which... He tells her that she hasn't aged in 15 years and wants to know what is happening. Okay, so not just Ruth, but Finnegan as well. So Ruth hasn't aged in 15 years. Now, I looked at her and I thought to myself, well, what age are you? She's clearly in her 30s, and I looked up the actor or actress's age, and she is, I think, in her mid-30s at this point.
So the same age as Bill Shatner.
Yeah. And later on we hear Finnegan say that he's still a 20-year-old. And I thought, nah, there's no chance you're... And he was also in his 30s. Neither of these characters look like they're in their 20s.
Yeah, they could have been cast younger if that was what they were meant to be.
Exactly. Why not just hire two actors who were in their 20s instead of getting two older ones pretending? They look nothing like a 20-year-old.
I don't have the answer. Maybe they thought they got away with it so successfully in The Man Trap. When the woman was meant to look 15 years younger.
What was one with what do you call it? The space pimp?
Mud's Women.
Yeah. That was all jiggery pokery with the pills and potions.
That's just belief. If they believe in themselves, they'll look 20 years
No,
younger.
they weren't. It wasn't belief that it was actually happening. That's why they took the pills.
It wasn't. The last one didn't take a pill.
I'm not
We'll not get back into that.
Anyway, he wants to know what's happening, but she dreamily tells him that none of this matters. Just never mind. Just go with the flow.
McCoy rudely interrupts over the communicator, saying or asking whether Kirk's caught up with Sulu yet.
Yeah, but she dismisses, saying, okay, he'll be fine. I mean, he's running about there chasing after some rabbit or a... Who's he after at this point?
He's chasing Don Juan.
Yeah. Did I say Dan Juan? That's his brother.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. Listen, I'm with Ruthie babe here.
Leave me
Babe
alone.
Ruth. He'll leave me alone. Never mind him.
And as soon as McCoy gets off the communicator, Rodriguez comes on.
To tell him what?
He saw some birds. Kirk's like, me too.
Yeah, I'm trying to see one just now. Can't you see? Leave me alone. Yeah, he's so enchanted by Ruth.
Yeah, he's now come to the conclusion that it's the original scans that were wrong. This stuff's all really happening.
Now, again, this is why we need a backstory. The effect that this woman has had on him. We need to know did you almost get married? Did you stand her up, or did she stand you up at the altar, as it were?
Yeah.
And it was a heart-wrenching breakup, or...
Did she die?
What? Yeah. We can't have you now just...
There's a bit of an explanation for this, which I'll get to at the end, but it's not wholly satisfactory.
Yeah. But he does sort of partially snap out of it and orders a rendezvous at the Glade. And he goes to leave, but admits to her that he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he's reluctant.
She responds by telling him that he can see her again if he wants, but she doesn't answer any more questions and leaves, telling him that she will be waiting. And I think at this point, he says something along the lines of she hasn't told him and breaks off. So this is perhaps a reference to their past.
Yeah, it's just some hint. There's something unresolved, and that's all we're getting. You don't need to know anymore.
Where are we?
Well, Spock is about to contact Kirk from the bridge of the Enterprise.
Yes, with an update on the planet and its conditions.
Yes, Mr. Spock.
Getting strange readings from the planet's surface, Captain. Some sort of power field down there.
Specify.
Highly sophisticated type of energy draining our power and increasing, beginning to affect our communications.
Can you pinpoint the source?
Could be coming from beneath the planet's surface. Patterns would indicate some sort of industrial activity.
Keep me posted, Mr. Spock. We'll continue our investigation down here. Captain out.
So he talks about this force field.
Well, power source, he says.
Yeah, sure.
It's draining the Enterprise's power.
Back down in the the woods, the forest.
Yeah, McCoy and Barrow are now arm in arm.
They are, and we see them being tracked by the Ariel also.
It's once again like they're drunk.
Yeah, this is another example of they're just for this episode they've invented this relationship. There's no backstory, and I think that this is a really good example of how less sophisticated TV was, or how episodic it was back in the day. These days you've got arcs and relationships are built over time, but they just created these relationships for this episode and then are then forgotten, and it's not...
A lot of people prefer that though. They want turn it on for an hour, turn it off, don't think about it, back next week. It's not my preference.
Yeah, I just think it doesn't feel you can't buy into it if... I mean, this is a character, Barrow's a character we've never seen before. Yeah. Even if it had been Rand.
Well, it was, yeah, okay.
What? You got to get to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she is noting that there is obviously something not right about the place. It's almost too beautiful. However, her concerns seem misplaced as she starts whittering on about how girls here should be dressed like fairy tale princesses.
Where's she got that from?
Who knows?
Walking around with her shoulder out and everything. McCoy says if she was a princess, she'd have to fight off 100 Don Juans and him.
He's a bit creepy in this episode.
This is the worst chat-up line I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah, if you were a princess, you may be attacked by men, and including myself, I would be up for a bit of attacking.
A bit of rape and pillage.
Yeah. How'd you like that, eh?
She's like, do you promise?
Yeah. Like, as they clasp hands. And he can't believe his luck that the line worked, I don't think.
No, I think he's mystified.
But before he can go further, she spots this princess get-up hanging from the trees, and he keeps up his seduction by passively, aggressively pressuring her into putting it on.
Yeah, and then saying he's going to watch her do it.
Yeah, I think she says that she's afraid. And he acts like an abusive spouse. Put it on. Go on. And it's like she doesn't want to, but she's scared to say no. Go on, I got you this. Wear it for me.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
It's far too nice an outfit for what they're doing, but he's going to force her to wear it and look stupid.
Yeah.
And then she says, don't look. And he's like, I'll look if I want to. I'm a doctor, basically.
Yeah, it's creepy as well. It's if I peek, it's in the line of duty. So are you saying that sometimes you do peek when you're working?
Pervert.
Yeah, he's a pervert. Keep an eye on this one.
Exactly.
As she changes, he gets a communication from Rodriguez, where they both have trouble hearing due to the lack of volume. But the message is to meet back at the Glade.
Rodriguez drops off the communication and we cut to him and Angela with a bit of trouble of their own.
Yeah, they've got fairly major problems, certainly bigger than poor communications, as we see them huddled together as a tiger prowls nearby. Obviously, a stock tiger. Stock footage.
It's not. There's a tiger there. They brought a tiger on set.
Really?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, there's trivia about it.
I know about the tiger, yeah, but I thought this. Are you sure this was actually on set with them?
Yeah.
And it's not. Okay.
William Shatner was upset he didn't get to wrestle the tiger.
Really?
Yes.
It looked like
he had to be persuaded that it wasn't a good idea.
To me, it looked like it was a cutaway to stock footage.
Yeah. But they're recording it on a sort of safari.
I know it, yeah.
Thing, so
I've actually got some trivia about that.
That's exciting.
Well, do you?
Yeah. Well, not other than that's where they are.
All right, okay.
Do you want to do it now or at the end?
No, I'll do it at the end.
Something to look forward to. Anyway, back in the Glade.
Yeah.
Barrow's showing off her new outfit.
Now, I would have loved it because I must admit, okay, I'm going to be perhaps uncouth here, but she reappears wearing this princess dress now, right down to her ankles with a silly hat, and she's all covered up. I immediately thought, nah, you looked a lot better with your really short skirt and your ripped tunic. Put that back on.
She feels better in this outfit.
I'm sure she does, but I would be disappointed. I'd think, nah, if I was McCoy, just put it back. Change back, please. This doesn't look good.
She calls herself a lady to be protected and fought for, a princess of the blood royale.
Is that what she says?
Yeah, and he says that she's all of those things and many more.
Yeah, he'll say anything at this point.
Yeah, he's just, it's the words come out before the brain engages.
Back up in the bridge, Kirk is speaking with Spock and wants answers from his science officer.
Yeah, Spock, who's already noted this power source, now starts asking whether this could just all be hallucinations.
Yeah, what?
It's like he can't get any other answer, so he comes back to this.
It's not logical. Why would
assumption.
if one person is tired, for example, stressed, But 3 or 4 different people, you would have to say, have you been poisoned? Some sort of drug here.
Yeah.
They can't all be hallucinating. What are you talking about?
Kirk's able to exclude the suggestion anyway because Finnegan had punched him.
Yeah.
Spock, though, is sure there must be some kind of logical explanation, and he offers to send down an armed party to help him out.
Sorry, but we missed a little bit there. He says that he was flattened by one of his hallucinations, and the other, and then he stops. So
Yes.
obviously embraced.
Of course.
Sorry, where were you?
Spock's sending down an armed party, but Kirk tells him not to.
He also asks him if he can turn up his gain. I know how he feels.
Working on podcast editing.
Yeah. Whispering Iain.
Whispering. Yeah. For many, many months.
Speak louder.
Kirk advises that the survey...
Right, stop this. We're not doing that. We're not doing this.
Anyhow, yes, there's not to be any armed teams sent down because they've got their phasers and there's no real danger being seen.
He ends communications as he sees a flock of birds overhead. We're now at like a cave type area.
This is my favourite moment in the whole episode.
Is it?
Sulu walks by and then a bit of the ground just pops up and a samurai comes flying out.
Why?
I don't know. Sulu obviously was thinking of samurais, as you do.
Yeah, at this point I was thinking it would be complete carnage these days if people were there and their desires or what they were thinking about came to life. Can you imagine it? Oh, I'd be embarrassed.
Would you?
It'd be illegal, half of it.
Lockdown would be over.
Yes. I mean, it's quite endearing. These naive, like, oh, I want to be a samurai and
I hope there's no samurais chasing me.
a knight. Can you imagine what people think about these days? Their desires and their wants? Oh, it'd be a messy old business.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Equality before the law.
Let's just move on from that.
Sulu tries to shoot the samurai with his phaser, but that doesn't work out very well.
No, thankfully.
It's not working at all, in fact, his phaser.
No power.
Well, either no power or something's stopping it.
We're over at some rocks.
I think it's the same rocks we've seen before.
Probably.
Kirk's still trying to get hold of McCoy on his communicator, but he's interrupted.
As Sulu runs over screaming, looking for help after being chased by the warrior.
Yes, but there's nothing following him at all.
No, but Kirk does believe him due to his own experience. See, he believes Sulu. Didn't ask him if he was hallucinating.
Believes the man, yeah.
Yeah. They then realise that in addition to communications being nearly out, their phasers can't be used.
Correct. And then they see someone trying with some difficulty to beam down from the Enterprise.
Is this the point we talked about earlier?
Yes.
I thought this would be a fake.
I was certain this was going to be a fake Spock.
Yeah. He does materialise, and Kirk reminds him of his order for no one to leave the ship.
Yeah, and Spock very unconvincingly says it was necessary, even though he has no new news.
Yeah, well, I think he says that it was necessary because communications are down and the transporter is useless. So, sorry, the transport, how do you get
He
down
said they had one more transport,
Right, okay.
so why use it to beam down?
Who knows?
Anyway, Sulu notes that means they're stranded.
Yeah. At the Glade.
Yes, McCoy gets into some nauseating dialogue with Barrow.
Yeah, they've arrived at the meeting point and wonder where everyone else is. He then senses something and he pushes her up against a tree.
And says that she shouldn't be afraid, not with a brave knight to protect her.
What?
What's he doing?
He's at it here.
It's crazy
I'd
stuff.
like to see him get shown up here, actually.
Well, he's about to get run through with a lance.
Nice timing.
Yeah. Back at the rocks, Spock, Kirk and Sulu hear and then try to find the tiger.
They do, and they think, this is Scooby-Doo stuff, they think it's a good idea to spread out and find it.
Yeah, because if one of them gets it, that'll be fine. This must be where Kirk wants to wrestle it.
Yeah. And back to the Glade. After mentioning this night, he and Barrow now have to face one on horseback
A black knight.
with a lance.
Yes. McCoy, though, is not too concerned because he thinks hallucinations cannot hurt him.
This is brilliant. It's okay, I cannot be hurt. Watch, I shall prove it.
I almost expected him to say, it's just a flesh wound.
It's a little bit like Back to the Future. So at the very start of the first one, where for some reason the Doc makes Marty stand beside as they fire the with remote control. They drive the DeLorean with Einstein in it right at them. There was no need for them to stand in the way.
No, just to prove the point.
Yeah, but so it's like that. Yeah, this is definitely going to work. Don't worry, not a problem at all.
Nothing can go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong. And then you get lanced to death.
Unfortunate. Kirk takes revenge for McCoy by shooting the knight down with Sulu's gun.
Yes.
So he's avenged. That's fine.
That's the end of that, yeah.
Captain's log.
Supplemental. It's a recap.
Yeah, they've lost contact with the Enterprise. McCoy's dead and the threat is real.
For some reason, back at the Glade, Barrow is crying that it's her fault.
Yeah, because he was defending her. She must have thought of the night.
Yeah, I suppose. But Kirk grabs her and reminds her that in these dangerous circumstances, he needs everyone alert, focused.
Yeah, he's trying to get her to snap to it.
Yeah, I was expecting a slap to the face at this point. Put yourself together.
Sulu notes, though, that the knight is not flesh and blood.
No, it's in fact a dummy and a very creepy looking one.
Very creepy.
Now even more confused, he calls over Spock, who has his tricorder.
This is not human skin tissue, Captain. More closely resembles the cellular casting we use for wound repairs. Much finer, of course.
I want an exact judgment, Mr. Spock.
This is definitely a mechanical contrivance. It has the same basic cell structure as the plants here. Even the trees, the grass.
Are you saying that this is a plant, Mr. Spock?
I'm saying that these are all multicellular castings. The plants, the animals, the people. They're all being manufactured.
By who? And why? And why these particular things?
All we know for certain is that they act exactly like the real thing. Just as pleasant. Or just as deadly.
Okay, so just to be clear here, Ruth is another sex android.
Basically.
We can chat about it later on, but yes, this is...
For the collection. Down on the wooded path, Angela and Rodriguez take cover from an airstrike.
Yeah, an old school World War II.
I think the type of plane changes as they cut between scenes.
That's it. Now this is definitely stock footage.
And Angela's killed.
Is she?
Well, it looked like it. She doesn't see. You don't see her again.
Do you not?
No.
They don't mention her.
Nope. They don't care. She's not McCoy. She doesn't even come back when McCoy's resurrected.
Yeah, that's the point. I wasn't sure if she was just knocked unconscious, because I think she ran into a tree.
Did she?
Yeah, it looked like
It could be that. Maybe she's not been shot. There was no blood, but they're not allowed to show blood. So.
They're not, but again, if you're shot from a plane from that distance, it would make some mess of you.
Oh, you think? Yes, maybe she's just unconscious, and that's why. But then where does she go at the end?
She's with Tomlinson.
In their own special place.
Yeah.
Back in the Glade, Sulu noticed there's been a bit of Burke and Hare going on.
Yes. Bodies have been moved.
The Knight's, as well as McCoy's.
Yeah. Spock
Asks whether Kirk was thinking of the people he met before he saw them, which causes Finnegan to show up again.
Yeah, and lead them in a chase. Finnegan is terrible.
It's just unwatchable, almost. It's not actually, it's quite good.
So we're on the rocks after chasing the giggling arse. Sorry, is that too? Can we use two? Yeah, I mean, we'll use American, a giggling ass.
Okay.
Who is taunting him. They come face to face among some boulders and he demands answers, Kirk that is. But instead, he gets a fist fight that he initially loses and ends up on his back.
Is this after the fake injury?
Not sure.
Okay. At some point during the fight, Finnegan pretends he's been paralysed, and then when Kirk leans over, he flips him and flattens him, knocks him out.
Yeah, no, I think that's after, because Finnegan, he humiliates him again. He calls him a stupid underclassman and reminds him that this is the point where he says he's still only 20 years old.
He's not aged well for 20.
But this re-energises the old man, who fights back, only to be beaten again with this tomfoolery from Finnegan.
Exactly. And we get a sort of a fade out and return, so some time has passed.
Yeah, he wakes, and for some reason Finnegan... So, I mean, is this only a matter of minutes? Because Finnegan is still there, out of breath.
Well, where's Finnegan going to go? He's Kirk's personal creation.
But he's out of breath. As if he's just been fighting.
Well, maybe Kirk imagines him to be out of breath.
Yeah. Anyway, it reminds him that he could never beat him. But he does agree to a request for answers, although he insists that Kirk has to earn them.
Kirk does so by knocking him out.
But yeah, because Finnegan throws dirt in his face, or dust.
Yes.
It's messy, that dry heat, that'd be horrible. In your eyes, in your hair, down
Very
the
rude.
back of his tunic.
I'll annoy him for minutes, maybe hours.
So, yeah, he eventually does prevail. And he gains some respect, I think, from Finnegan, which seems to please Kirk.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, Spock appears. Says, "Do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy it?"
Yes. But, but before that, is that the bit where he asks again for answers and Finnegan tells him that he actually reneges in that promise and says
he doesn't give him any answers.
He doesn't answer plebes, they call it. I think we'd call it plebs.
Yeah, Kirk's like, I'm not a plebe.
Plebe.
Or a plebe. Mm-hmm. Spock's got this theory, which this confirms, that they're being mind-read and things are being manufactured specifically for them. It's taken him 45 minutes to work this out of the episode.
And this is confirmed in part by Finnegan, who says that he is doing exactly what Jimmy Boy expected him to be doing.
Exactly. Spock says they must control their thoughts, and Kirk observes how difficult that might be.
Yes. These days, I would not like to be in this position.
And Kirk's sitting there going, don't think of Spock naked. Don't think...
Stop thinking of sex dolls. They keep appearing.
Every episode. Yeah. They head back to the glade, dodging the now tethered tiger and knocking the samurai out the way. And
yeah, he brushed aside very easily for the samurai.
It's rubbish.
Yeah.
And I think the aircraft fly past as well.
Barrows has just finished changing back into her tunic, and she's grabbed from behind by who?
I think it's Don Juan again.
It is, who attempts to abduct her.
Yeah, but Kirk gets the group organised and Don Juan is spooked and runs away.
Yeah, Kirk tells him not to bother chasing him. No. He knows now what's going on.
Exactly.
And he warns him not to think or to talk or to breathe and instead concentrate on being at attention. He
says to them, whatever you do, don't think of Spock naked.
And at this, they are joined by a stranger in a robe with a glint in his eye.
Who are you?
I'm the caretaker of this place, Captain Kirk.
You know my name?
But of course. Lieutenant Rodriguez, Lieutenant Sulu, Yeoman Barrows, and Mr. Spock. We have only just discovered that you do not understand all this. These experiences were intended to amuse you.
Amuse? That's your word for what we've been through?
But none of this is permanent. Here you have to only imagine your fondest wishes, either old ones which you wish to relive or new ones, anything at all. Battle, fear, love, triumph. Anything that pleases you can be made to happen.
The term is amusement park.
Of course.
An old Earth name for a place where people could go to see and do all sorts of fascinating things.
This entire planet was constructed for our race of people to come and play.
Play? As advanced as you obviously are, can you still play?
Yes, play, Mr. Sulu. More complex the mind, the greater the need for the simplicity of play.
Exactly, Captain. How very perceptive of you.
That still doesn't explain the death of my ship's surgeon.
Possibly because no one has died, Jim.
Except for Angela.
Yeah, she doesn't count, as you said.
It's a woman. It's fine.
I should say as well, the caretaker was a little bit touchy-feely with Barrow.
He got his back of his hand up against her cheek.
Yeah, didn't touch the rest of them, just her. A little stroking to remind her that she might be assaulted at any point, what with being a female.
Yes,
in
she
Star
should be
Trek.
expecting it, yeah.
Yeah. So that wonderful revelation we heard at the end there is explained by McCoy, who has appeared with a blonde and a brunette on his arms.
Showgirls.
And a smile on his face, yeah?
Yeah.
What does he tell him? What does he say happened?
He was just thinking about a cabaret or something like that.
Yeah, and he was taken to an amazing underground factory that can build or do anything. So
Kirk went to one of them, remember? With Chapel.
Yeah. Now, that's a problem I've got. So, he says it can do anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, including bringing you back from the dead. Because he was dead.
Or maybe just appeared dead.
Okay, if this is the case that they can do anything, and they can fix anything, it's a bit like the Superman problem, where it takes away any urgency or any real threat. Because if this planet can fix you and do anything,
but maybe it can only fix things that happen on the planet.
Well, maybe then, yeah. Because I'm thinking that if anyone dies, just go to this planet and have them.
Yeah, and I don't think they can fix people who've died elsewhere. I wouldn't think so.
Okay, yeah, because it's like Superman reversing time. A lot of old nonsense.
Yeah. You wouldn't get that in Star Trek.
Okay. And then with a 60s seductive score on the go, a prickly Barrow asks him to explain the arm candy.
None of her business.
No, he stutters and stammers, however, and mentions the chorus line that you said. Yeah, none of your business. Who are you, Barrow? We just
You,
had a...
you just showed up this week.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Demanding
think
answers
there's some
from
sort of-
McCoy.
Yeah. You got me killed.
Exactly. Anyhow, he passes the women on to Sulu and Spock,
Yes.
and the caretaker says that he has decided they're not advanced enough to know the secrets, but please feel free to come for a holiday.
We've heard this before, haven't we? Where you're not you can't comprehend it. Something so amazing or so otherworldly or so advanced that the human species isn't able to
Yeah,
take
it
it
seems
all
a bit
in.
of a get out.
Yeah. But you know what? It doesn't matter. MacGuffin.
Look over here. Uhura comes on comm, says systems have been restored. Caretaker doesn't explain why he disabled their ship. I think there's maybe something a bit more to this that we're not going to get the full story on.
Okay, yeah.
If it's just to entertain folk, why is he forcing them, first of all, stopping their ship from doing anything, including transporting more people down?
Ah, yeah. No, he's at it. He's been caught and he's come up with this explanation.
story,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't trust him. The caretaker.
Exactly.
The Janny.
He's a liar. That's who he is, not a caretaker. He's a liar. Spock offers to head up to the ship, but Kirk says he'll do it until he spots Ruth once more and changes his mind
Immediately,
abruptly.
he wants to spend a couple of days with a sex robot. I mean, what is he doing with her for 2 days?
Conversation.
And
And he
he
doesn't have any knowledge.
But
It
he
hasn't come out of his head.
Oh, he's not caring, yeah. That's what it is.
Which is not even real, yeah. So it's not like he's sharing an experience with her.
No.
Maybe he just wants to watch the sunset.
No, he's having sex with her.
Okay. A couple of days later, up on the bridge, Spock confirms with McCoy and Kirk that they've had a good break, and they
Oh, yeah.
kind of chuckle and wink, and
Yeah.
Barrow comes in walking a bit funny, and Spock calls them illogical as Kirk orders Warp 1 towards their next adventure.
And there we have it.
Yeah.
Very, very fun episode.
It was enjoyable. Little bit sexist.
A little bit sexist, a little bit underwritten, a little bit lazy in places.
Yeah, there are reasons for some of these writing issues that we'll come to very shortly.
Okay.
My biggest problem was that they didn't solve the problem.
Remind me?
They didn't figure it out.
Well,
The caretaker showed up and told them what was going on.
Yeah.
All they figured out was, oh yeah, when we think of things, they appear. They didn't figure out how that happened, how to stop it happening. You know,
Yeah.
it was just handed back to them at the end of the episode. It's like, oh yeah, here's the story.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lightweight episode.
Yeah.
But I think you need that. I think if you're going through episodes, just like them, a stressful 3 months, lots of challenges, lots of, the threat of
Yeah,
death and
sometimes you just
destruction.
want one that's just fun.
They're all having fun. Actors can have fun. We can have fun with them. Nothing too serious. You don't need to worry about it too much. And
The actors didn't have fun.
did they not?
Not in this episode.
Tell me about it.
I'll get to it.
Okay.
Do you think there's a moral to the story? I was thinking maybe be careful what you wish for.
Yes. Yeah. And
Watch out for sex robots.
watch out for sex robots. Yeah.
I didn't get the line about the caretaker just realising they don't know what's going on. They've spent the whole time walking around saying what's going on. They can read their minds.
Can they read their minds or just feel their desires? It's maybe different.
Very specifically feeling their desires, so he knows exactly what people to bring. And
Yeah. No, he was at it. That's
yeah, he's alive. He was doing something surreptitious. He probably harvested power from the Enterprise or something.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Why would you have this Ariel going about? If that planet was designed for the purposes that he said, you would go into a booth somewhere, wouldn't you? You would come down.
Explain.
Explained, yeah. You would go to a certain point, into a booth, you would have your mind, your desire read, or you would just say, this is what I want, and they would give you... There'd be no reason for this Ariel to pop up and follow you around and just surreptitiously extract information from your mind.
Yeah.
At it.
Okay.
I think it's so they can maybe blackmail. We know what you're into.
That's not worth it, these guys.
Yeah.
Should we get on with the next part?
Yeah, let's wrap things up.
Original air date just after Christmas, 29th December 1966. The last episode aired in 1966. And it's also the middle episode of season 1. So we're more than halfway through the first season.
Okay.
It was directed by Robert Spar. He also directed episodes of shows like Bonanza, Batman and Lassie. But he died in a plane crash in 1969 at the age of 53 when he was scouting locations with long-term Star Trek director of photography Jerry Finnerman, who survived the accident.
Lucky for him.
Yeah, not so lucky for Spar. There were some issues with the writing of the episode. It was written originally by Theodore Sturgeon, and then it was rewritten by Gene Kuhn. but he had got the wrong end of the stick for what Gene Roddenberry wanted, and Roddenberry then was rewriting it on the fly as they were filming it, which meant the director didn't have a lot of time to set stuff up, which led to an unsatisfactory experience for the actors, and the director was accordingly never invited back.
Shatner had him sacked. I will never... Either he goes or I go. Get him sacked.
Well, it probably wasn't Nimoy, given that he was only in 2 scenes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Bill Shatner. Make sure he's sacked. Make sure he doesn't have any pension left after this or any other benefits. Get him off here.
Harsh, but probably fair in the circumstances.
Yeah.
Sturgeon contributed one further episode and had a third turned down later in the run on account of the requirement for expensive special effects, although that was novelised as The Joy Machine, which is a similar theme to this.
Yeah.
Sex Robots, probably. By James Gunn, published in 1996. He also wrote for shows like The Twilight Zone, but he's maybe best remembered for his novels, including More Than Human and Baby is 3. He was posthumously inducted into the Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame in the year 2000, having died in 1985 at 67. He gave his name to Sturgeon's Law, which states that... Do you know it?
Yes.
Okay, Neil?
No, I don't.
90% of science fiction is crud, but 90% of everything is crud.
Okay.
He also developed a credo, which he then came up with a symbol for and wore on his own jewellery. It's a Q with an arrow, not for QAnon, thankfully, but intended to promote critical thinking by challenging assumptions. And in its simplest form, it's simply stated, ask the next question.
Yeah, I like that.
Probably need that in the media, some sections these days, eh? Barbara Baldavin, we heard from last week, reprised her role as Angela. I think originally it was a different character, but then when she showed up, they said, we know her. She's already played somebody.
Angela Martin.
So I think Kirk calls her something different at the start of the episode.
I do.
Yeah, we just skipped over that.
All right.
But yeah, she's playing Angela again.
Okay.
She was our Columbo connection last week, and we don't really have one this week, so check out Balance of Terror for more about her. Shirley Bonny, or Bon, was Ruth. She was previously the lead in My Sister Eileen. She played Eileen and went on to appear in shows like Bonanza and I Dream of Jeannie. And she's recently turned 86.
Happy birthday.
Not that recent. Billy Blackburn played the White Rabbit. He's more commonly seen in over 60 Star Trek episodes as Lieutenant Hadley, who kicks around in the background and never says anything. He was also D. Kelly's regular stand-in. He once appeared in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and he was nominated for a Primetime Emmy for his work in the costume department for 1980's The Diary of Anne Frank. I don't have a date of birth for him, but I suspect he's in his 80s.
Or dead.
I don't think he's dead.
How do you know?
Well, nobody said he's dead. He was interviewed on StarTrek.com 5-6 years ago, and he gave
5-6 years ago is a long time when you're in your 80s.
Well, I'm not saying that means he's not dead. I'm saying that's quite a good resource if you want to hear some more from him.
Okay, let's hope he's still around, alive and kicking, doing well.
Yeah. Bruce Mars, probably the father of Bruno.
Yeah.
Played the irritating Finnegan.
Oh, and I think he's as irritating in real life
as possible.
Okay.
This was the second of his 3 appearances in the show, but the first for which he got a credit. He also appeared in shows like Bonanza and Mission Impossible, and he's now better known as Brother Paramananda, a senior monk in the Self-Realization Fellowship in California.
As you know.
He's 84 years old.
Yeah.
If you watch this performance, you have a bit of self-realization to go on. It's like, I'm an arse.
Yeah.
That'd be self-realization.
Yeah, at it.
Perry Lopez.
Yes, I recognise that face.
Played Rodriguez. This was his only Star Trek appearance, but he also appeared in films like Chinatown.
Amazing movie. I watched it recently. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
The Two Jakes.
Which is a sequel.
And he died in 2008 at the age of 78. Emily Banks. Yeoman Barrow. This was her only Star Trek appearance, but she also appeared in shows like Knight Rider and Airwolf.
I'd like to have seen her in this again. I think she was good.
Yeah, a bit feisty.
Yeah.
She's now 87 years old. Like I said, I don't have a Columbo connection, though obviously we've got Shatner and Nimoy every week.
That's all you need.
Yeah. But, interesting alternative. So, Fabian Torgman, he was the editor.
Fabi T.
This was the 4th of his 22 episodes of Star Trek in that role. He also edited for shows like Starsky and Hutch and Barnaby Jones. Before in 1987, he worked on a single episode of Sledgehammer. Clockwork Hammer.
Yeah, I think, was that the first episode of season 2? I'm not sure. I've been binging on Sledgehammer again during lockdown, give myself a bit of a light relief. and I think it definitely stands up really, more so today with the political satire, I would say.
Excellent. Torchman's now 90, and he's remembered as being a challenging editor to work with. He saw editing as an art form in itself.
Well, it is, yeah.
Contrary sometimes to the director's vision of what the scene should be, and he was always trying to innovate with the editing process. He's given particular credit for the Kirk Finnegan fight in this episode, and the concept of Finnegan continually appearing out of nowhere. That was his work.
Yeah. I recently read a book, now I think it's Paul Hirsch, who has worked on some of the biggest movies of all time, probably most famous for Star Wars.
Okay.
He was editor on that. It's a really interesting book, and yeah, I think it's the editor or the editing of a movie can certainly make or break it. You can change the entire feel and the tone by when you cut, where you cut, what you cut. It certainly is an art form in itself.
It's the same with a podcast.
Yep.
You'll probably edit that out to make me sound like I said that it was the same with a podcast. This was the first episode to feature music by Gerald Fried. I found some of it quite theatrical. Some of it gets used again in future episodes, including Finnegan's Jig, which doesn't bode well.
No, it doesn't.
We'll see what happens. I've talked already about the rewrites. The outdoor scenes were shot at Vasquez Rocks National Area Park and at Africa, USA, which are near LA. I think you've got something to say about those.
What I've got is it was filmed in Ralph Helfer's ranch. Now, Ralph Helfer must have...
he's got a credit as the guy who did the animal work.
Yes, it was his ranch. That what do you call it? Africa, USA?
Africa, USA.
Yes, I think that was part of this, his ranch. He was an animal behaviourist, author, park founder, documentarian, and apparently the creator of something called affection training, which removed whips and chairs and violence. Although critics accused his method of requiring declawing, defanging, and a bit of doping up. So, not sure. He might not have hit them with a chair, but he might have removed their old teethles.
Not ideal.
No.
He does have a lot of credits. He worked on a lot of things.
He trained Gentle Ben.
Yep.
And also Zamba, the MGM line.
That's a good one to know.
Yeah.
On the theme of animals, an elephant was hired and brought to the set for this episode.
Okay,
but never used.
Yeah.
Much to the fury of the producer, Bob Justman, who was responsible for paying for it.
Yeah, if you go to the hassle of getting an elephant, you put it in your movie or your TV show.
Apparently this led to a running joke behind the scenes for the entire rest of the series, where folk kept asking when the elephant was going to be needed.
Surely that's something that before you go and get yourself an elephant, you
well, this is with the rewrites. So Gene Rodman was rewriting it under a tree while they're filming it.
Yeah,
he writes the elephant out.
Yeah, don't, Gene, we've got an elephant here. Keep that in. You can
send him away.
It could just be they get attacked for a second by an elephant. One scene.
McCoy rides an elephant with the princess.
At the end. Well, that's what you've been thinking of, yeah.
Or they see it drinking from the lake as they... Anyway. In terms of international titles, only a couple worth mentioning. The Dutch went with Vakantie in Wonderland, Vacation in Wonderland.
Okay, Chevy Chase, National Lampoons.
Yeah. And our friends in Japan went for Okasina Huen Wakuse.
Okay.
Translates as Very Funny Amusement Planet.
That's okay. I quite like that.
Yeah, it's a good twist, isn't it? I like that name. I think that's better than Shore Leave.
Yeah.
They should have called it Very Funny Amusement Planet.
Although it's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it?
That's true, yeah. They could have had what they should have as like an or title. You know, some plays have that. Yeah. Yeah, anything else to add?
Nope, nothing.
So, next time.
What?
I think it's the last episode that's really significantly out of order. This is one of the earlier filmed ones. So it's 16th episode of Season 1, the Galileo 7. And if you want to keep in touch with us between now and then, social media, you know the drill. Tell all your friends, especially ones who use Facebook Star Trek groups and stuff like that. Let them know where we are. Get them to listen. Hopefully they'll enjoy it too. And we'll see you next week.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.